Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be doing hopefully a new type of series. I know I used to do it a while back in the football season. There's about obviously a bit more going on, but with Michigan having so many guys, I think I'd start doing some Michigan draft profiles. I might try to call it Michigan Mondays, and every Monday I try to have a Michigan type video out. Hopefully that'll help break up the drought that I've had in terms of covering Michigan football and even just sports in general on the channel. It's really just been a lot of hype videos and things like that, but we got to get back to it. I've been on the national championship honeymoon, if you will. Obviously, we got it right here. And then the ABCDEFG Michael, I think it is, something like that. His merch came in, awesome quality stuff. So, I mean, I would check it out if you haven't gotten some stuff already. But yeah, um, thought we'd start off with the most polarizing guy out there, JJ McCarthy, not only just for Michigan prospects, but for just people in general on this draft. People have him either as like QB2 or like an XFL gets unemployed. It's pretty wide variance. The more you look into it on Twitter and what people are saying online, they're pretty casual and they don't think he's be very good. Obviously, I'm fairly biased. The fact that I love the guy and I have his jersey sitting right over there next to me. So I definitely got to make sure that it's known that I'm a Michigan fan, clearly. So I'm a little biased when it comes down to this. But I think I do a pretty good job of staying neutral when it comes to or being able to be objective. So I had a little list here I was going to do just for overall prospects and too. I initially wanted to do like all quarterbacks 1 week, all this, all next position 1 week, things like that. But let's see here if I actually even have it. Yep. So we can just start with talking about their measurables, right? So JJ McCarthy, if it loads here, he's 6'3", 202. So he's a bit slender. I would imagine right now he's out in I forgot the exact name of the agency, but he's out in South California right now, where I was this past weekend. And he's going to be working. I imagine I'm putting on some weight as well to beef up, because I think people are kind of worried about him maybe not being able to take as many hits as he probably should. When you look at him now, stats wise, he's not the biggest stats guy. I can get his exact stats for you right now. Right, some of the other guys around him put up video game numbers. Obviously, that's not really what you're looking for when it comes to JJ McCarthy. He's a high efficient younger guy. You don't really want to start him immediately, I would imagine. If he can get a year or two to develop, I think he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the class, if not the best. But if you want to have him come in and start day one, like he's being mocked a lot to Denver right now, might be a little bit worrying. Stats for JJ: 2,991 yards, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 72.3% completion on 167.4 rating. So he's really efficient. Some of the best pass percentage out there. And when you look at some of the other graphs, I'll try to throw in some if I can. Remember to throw them in. He's a very clutch player. His best downs are third downs. He does a lot of stuff like that. Steps up when he needs to. Throws the ball down the field more than others. Bo Nix is known as a check down merchant. When you look at his like stat sheet, stat cast type thing, like when you watch baseball, they have like a stat cast like hit. His passing like stat cast type deal, he checks down a ton. So he might have to beat some allegations there. Now, where would we say he's going to be mocked? Personally, I would take him pretty high. I think that when you look at the model of a Mahomes, of a Jordan Love, waiting a year behind and then coming in, it's worked pretty well for those guys. So I think that'd be a good guy to look after there. Teams that would be interested in him, I think the Giants could be interested in him as high as 6, probably too high, but that's just a team that could do it. I'm just talking about teams that would need him. The Vikings, I think, are going to be interested in him. They said an NFC team is looking into trading up for JJ McCarthy. So that would probably make more sense with Minnesota. But I know Minnesota and the Giants have been heavily involved with JJ for almost a season or two now. Atlanta Falcons would be an interesting fit for him. I think they got bigger needs. I would imagine they'd pass. Then we get to the teams here. So 11 would be Minnesota. They're obviously heavily interested. The Broncos, the Raiders, the Saints. That's a good stretch of 3 teams that would be really interested. I think you have the Steelers could be potentially interested. You've got the LA Rams and the Seahawks at the later end of it, where I think that they would have to probably trade up to get him, but they'd obviously be interested. And then the farthest down team I could see looking to take him would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 26, but I would be stunned if he was still on the board there. But those would be the teams I think he's going to get mocked to. I'd imagine he's going to go fringe top 10. He's going to test really well, I think, at the combine. Um, Very athletic quarterback, which kind of leans into the pros. He's super young. It's a pro and a con, but we'll start with it being pro. You can develop this kid. He just turned 21 at the end of January, so he'll start next season at 21 years old, and playoff time he'll be turning 22. So it was, again, super young. You get a fifth year option on him. He's only going to be, what is that, a 26 on his fifth year option? That's crazy. That's like NBA numbers. When you look at other things that he does really well, proven winner. A dude just wins every level. Obviously, Michigan this year, he was unbelievable. He's got the highest win percentage of like the recent modern era for wins. I mean, he's only lost to what? TCU and Georgia. And he didn't even start that game against Georgia. He lost to TCU, right? I think that's it. Yeah, I think TCU is the only game he's lost to starter. Yeah, he's 27-1 or something like that. So that's the only one he's lost. Obviously, 2-0 against Ohio State. Beat Michigan State a few times. Obviously, beat Alabama and Washington in the playoff run this year. 2-0 in Big Ten championship games as well. And he did come in as a secondary quarterback sometimes. He's sneaky mobile. I would compare his play style closer to Mahomes. Obviously, he's not as good as Mahomes. For me, you can have a play style like someone not be nearly the level. Like you wouldn't think of as Pat Mahomes as a runner, but Pat always shows up and runs when you need it. When you need it, he shows up, runs. He loves the clutch. He loves it. Absolute nails. Like the record that he has where he's like super good when he's down 2 scores. That's crazy. I think JJ could do a similar thing like that. Granted, Michigan was never really down 2 scores and he didn't have to do much. Speaking of having to do much, I also think that's a pro. The fact that JJ hasn't been asked to do much. 0 wear and tear in his body. He had one like little knee injury kind of type deal during the Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State game this season. But other than that, almost no injuries. Super young, malleable. Again, kind of repeating myself there, but it is what it is. And one of his biggest strengths, and I guess it can be a con too, he loves rolling out to the right. I'll hopefully remember to put some videos over this right now, some of the best highlights he has of his career, and kind of give you a good view and remind you of what kind of a cannon arm this kid has. But he does tend to lock on receivers sometimes. You can stare him down. Obviously, you look at like the Maryland game in the Bowling Green from this past season. He would just stare guys down and they could easily read him off with a pick. Again, he is young. That is also a con because he's a little irrational. He tends to get a little gunslingery at times, which, he didn't have to do much at Michigan, but, TCU kind of forced some throws, obviously, and resulted in some pick sixes. But other than that, the guys around the league love this kid. He's going to be super good, super marketable, young. Just got engaged with his girlfriend, brand new puppy. Social media presence is there. Obviously, that helps with your brand awareness and things like that. You're not going to be drafting it because of it, but it's things that just come with the territory of drafting JJ. I think the best fits were kind of those teams he mentioned. I think Raiders, if you sit him behind somebody, obviously not Jimmy G anymore, but sitting behind Aiden O'Connell maybe for a minute, sitting behind David Carr on the Saints, behind maybe Kirk for a year or two with the Vikings. All great options, even behind Kyler Murray with the Cardinals if they want to get him super late. But if he has to come in and start from day one, it could get interesting. I still think he's got the ability to do that, but you kind of have him as like a pick and stash, or was it? Yeah, draft and stash type deal. Then I think he could be very effective. Overall, I think JJ, obviously, he's going to be one of the highest draft picks Michigan's had in a very long time, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm super excited to see where he goes. Let me know down below what you think he's going to end up doing. I'm super bullish on JJ. I have been for a long time. I was always JJ over Cade, even when Cade was doing really well for us. No disrespect to Cade, but JJ obviously took it to a different level. Best Michigan quarterback I've seen in a long time. One of my favorite players of all time. I'm so excited to see what he does in the future. Wish nothing but the best for him and his new family, and as long with the rest of his family. Obviously, his family's growing at the moment. And yeah, go blue to JJ. And again, Michigan fans, where would you like to see him end up? I know as a lot of us being Lions fans, it'd be interesting to see if he end up going to the Vikings. We'd have to deal with him in the division. But I can root for JJ 15 out of the 17 games. No problem by me. So yeah, again, let me know below what you think, and like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.